forecast as we head into this weekend. So I'll get everything here working here behind the scenes here in just about the next 30 minutes. 30 minutes. It is a Friday. 30 seconds to a minute, and we'll get started from there. We'll just make this relatively brief for tonight, but in the meantime, I will show you those pretty quiet and calm conditions across western Montana as we take those live looks across the area. But at the 9 o'clock hour, high pressure fully in control. That's going to continue to be the case overnight, so no issues when it comes to our weather across the region, and then likely not until we get into Sunday. So Saturday shaping up to be very nice as well. So just making sure everything's working properly behind the scenes. But as you're tuning in, let us know where you're tuning in from this evening. Hopefully it's been a good week for you, and we're finishing off this. We've finished off this work week in a strong and solid way. But like I was saying, overall, shaping up to be a very nice weekend across, or at least a very nice Saturday across all of western Montana. Sunday could be a little bit, I'll say, troublesome. There's a few issues for that forecast on Sunday, especially if you have some outdoor plans that we'll get to here in just a moment. But if you got any questions or comments as we go throughout this update, feel free to ask those in the chat section, and I'll try and answer them as we go through this. But thank you again for tuning in this evening. High pressure has been in control for the last couple of days. It's really led to some beautiful, warm, sunny conditions across the region. We've seen temperatures anywhere from 5 to 15 degrees above average for the last 2 days, and we will likely see that again for tomorrow, thanks to that ridge of high pressure. So again, all is quiet out across the region this evening. No issues from the weather. After our high temperatures this afternoon in the 70s and 80s, we've seen them cool down relatively steadily and a little bit quicker up towards Kalispell, where we're already down to 59 degrees, 64 in Butte and Bozeman, and 67 here in the Garden City. Winds in most locations about 5 to 10 miles per hour. We're going to see this stay pretty consistent, I think, with those winds. As we get into tomorrow, though, those will likely start to pick up. Now, part of the reason for that is this next storm system. That'll be our weather maker that we have to keep a very close eye on as we head into Sunday. But for the most part, this ridge of high pressure, this is still going to be centered right over western Montana. It's going to keep everything pretty quiet tomorrow, keep things warm. Then we get into Sunday, and as this trough of low pressure moves into the region, that's when we're going to see, I'll say, more issues. We're going to see that impacting the area Sunday and Monday before it quickly moves out, and we're likely looking at another ridge of high pressure building in on the back side of things. So looking into tomorrow's forecast, 80s or 70s and 80s are going to be common. It's going to be a great night, or a great afternoon, I should say, for Montana and Montana State football. Both are home this week, so starting off with that forecast for the Bobcats as they host Mercyhurst. That kickoff at 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Temperatures right around 70 to 72 degrees, warming into the mid, maybe upper 70s for the afternoon hours, or for the, I'll say, the second, third, and fourth quarters of the game. Honestly, I don't know if you could ask for much better football weather for middle of September here. So pretty nice there. The Grizz, they are hosting Indiana State. Temperatures are going to be just a hair warmer, so we're going to see those up to around 77 degrees at kickoff, likely getting into the lower to mid 80s as we get into that second, third, fourth quarter time frame. So make sure to stay hydrated tomorrow. It's not going to be oppressively hot by any means, but it is going to be still quite warm out there, and never hurts to be a little extra hydrated. And this goes for any plans that you may have outdoors this weekend. I know here in Missoula we've also got the Missoula Renaissance Festival that's taking place down at the fairgrounds. Multiple other events going on as well. So if you're a little more heat sensitive, just be aware of that. Take some breaks in the shade and drink plenty of water. But again, this isn't even, it's hot for this time of the year, but it's not as hot as even we've been in the last 2 weeks. So nothing too crazy there. Moving through this quickly, here's what we're tracking. Here's really the bulk of what... Oh, come on. Can't get it to focus, so give me a second. Sorry about that, folks. Because I know that's going to probably drive people crazy if that is going to keep doing that. It's not doing it for the moment. Let's let's go with that. Back to our regular... Man, it is not happy with that. Okay, I'm just not going to mess anything with anything there. Hopefully the focus stays in place. So, all right, getting back to regularly scheduled programming before that delay. What we're tracking Sunday into Monday, that trough of low pressure is going to be dragging a cold front through the area. This is going to bring some gusty winds, as well as that chance for some showers and thunderstorms and some cooler weather. I think the biggest impact will likely be from these gusty winds that we're going to see, but the shower and thunderstorm chances have been going up today as compared to what we were looking at for yesterday. And you can really see these temperature swings. We're going from the upper 70s to mid 80s on Saturday down into the lower and upper, really in the 70s in general. So areas to the west, when that cold front arrives a little bit sooner, we're going to likely be in those low to maybe mid 70s. It all comes down to the timing of that cold front. Down towards Bozeman, we may still get up close to the 80-degree mark, especially if that front is a little bit slower. So just be aware. Temperatures probably for Missoula, Kalispell, we're talking anywhere from 10 to 15 degrees cooler on Sunday as compared to what we're going to see on Saturday. Maybe more in that 5 to 8 degree range for places like Butte and Bozeman, especially once that front moves on through. So here's a look at the wind tracker. We're calm right now for the most part. We will see those picking up into tomorrow afternoon. I think sustained winds 5 to 15 miles per hour are going to be common. Gusts upwards to maybe 25 to 30 miles per hour can't be ruled out. Most areas I think will be more in that 15 to 25 range. But like we're seeing here for Missoula, Butte, a couple of gusts closer to 30 can't be ruled out. That's as this next storm system is starting to make its approach. But watch how these numbers get much higher into Sunday afternoon. And this is going to be associated with that cold front. By Sunday afternoon, this is looking around 5 in the afternoon. We could be talking wind gusts 30 to 40 miles per hour. Places like Kalispell, Polson, Missoula, Butte, Hamilton. These types of winds will very much lead to choppy conditions on area lakes, especially up towards Flathead Lake. So if you have any plans up there, be aware of those types of conditions. We could be talking waves of 1 to 3 feet on the lake, and there is the potential we could see a lake wind advisory issued for Flathead Lake. That hasn't been done yet, but that is something that is in discussion from the National Weather Service and could show up as early as tomorrow, being issued for Sunday. So something to keep in mind with that. But there is also even the potential that we could even see some stronger gusts in there too. You see that 40 to 50 mile per hour gust potential into Sunday afternoon. I think that's a little high. 30 to 40 is going to be a bit more common, but I won't rule it out just as this storm system is moving through. So be aware of those very gusty winds into Sunday afternoon thanks to that cold front. And once that cold front comes through, you'll see those temperatures start to take a dive pretty quick. Now going into the precipitation side of things. Saturday, no rain across the entirety of the area. No issues there. As we get into Sunday afternoon, so this is looking into the early afternoon, watch how we go from 0%, this is going to be around lunchtime, into the afternoon. We start to see those numbers tick up, 30 to 40% into west central and southwestern Montana. This is going to be into this is looking around, say, 5 to 7 o'clock in the evening. Best chances will be in these zones where you're seeing the yellows and oranges. But watch as we go from Sunday night into Monday morning, and we see a big uptick, especially down here in southwest Montana. As that storm system moves through, we could be talking about at least scattered, if not widespread showers, maybe even a few thunderstorms into southwest Montana, with those rain chances anywhere from about 60 to 90%. So something we'll keep a close eye on. This is a big swing from what we were seeing yesterday, where the forecast was showing maybe 20 to 40%. So this is going to be one of those things to watch, especially as we get into tomorrow. I think a big reason for that is the storm system is tracking a little bit slower. So two impacts with that. One, it allows more moisture to get into the area before it gets essentially cleaned out by that cold front. but also the storm system is going to be splitting. So instead of moving due east, it's actually going to track a little bit more southeast down into Wyoming. And that's what's going to help keep that around into southwest Montana. One other factor of it slowing down, though, and changing this direction, we could get a little bit more instability into all of western Montana with this storm system. So while it's not very high, we could actually see a couple of stronger thunderstorms develop with this as well. So main impacts from that would be gusty winds, maybe 40 to 60 miles per hour. Can't rule out a marginally severe thunderstorm into Sunday afternoon, evening time frame as well. And maybe even some small hail if the instability gets just high enough. And then some heavy rainfall, frequent lightning, something that many of the thunderstorms that we have had recently have been at least capable of doing. So we're looking at that very similar again. I think most areas this could be just some decent rainfall. Not seeing a whole lot in the way of extremely heavy flash flooding type rainfall, but right now all the rain we can get we will take. I was just looking at the drought monitor yesterday, and most of western Montana, outside of northwestern portions of the state, we are in severe to extreme drought. We've even seen exceptional drought, which is the highest on the scale, just across the state line over into Idaho. So we'll take every bit of rain that we can get over the next little bit. That said, once we get beyond Monday, or beyond the system on Monday, we likely dry out for the middle parts of next week. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and maybe even into Friday, we'll see another ridge of high pressure build back in, and then it pretty much dries us out. Now going into Future Tracker real quick, here's kind of the timing of this. We're dry for all of Saturday, few fair weather clouds for the most part. We're just going to be sunny and warm. There may be a few showers into Sunday morning. Right now, I think those are going to be pretty spotty. I think we're just generally going to see an increase in cloud cover, but you notice how these greens and even yellows starting to show up in northwest Montana as early as, say, 8 to 10 o'clock in the morning. Watch as we get into the afternoon. More of this starts to overspread the region. Areas west of the divide will probably have the best coverage through the first half of the afternoon, but even some isolated showers and storms in southwest Montana can't be ruled out. Continuing on into the afternoon, and you see some of these oranges and reds down here in southwest Montana. Those are the storms that could tap into that instability just a little bit more. Those are the ones we'll have to watch out for to see if they get on the strong to maybe even marginally severe side. But those will track further off to the north. So places like Wisdom, Butte, Dillon, Wise River, then even further north up towards, say, Jefferson City, Boulder, Clancy, we may see some of those, and those will continue to march off to the east. So while things start to quiet down a little bit into late Sunday afternoon and evening in northwest and west central Montana, then we transition into southwest Montana, and my forecast model here doesn't go out far enough, but you see this complex of showers and storms that moves through the Bitterroot Valley and then east from there. This will likely be the activity that moves into places like Ennis, Bozeman, into the early morning hours. We'll see how quickly that system moves out. There is the potential that it clears out before the morning commute and we start to dry out, but there is also the potential it's a little bit slower, it trends slower, and we're still dealing with that into Monday morning's commute. So that's just going to be a good reminder. Tune into our broadcasts this weekend as we get more information. Sophia Ward will have the latest updates for that forecast this weekend. And I think that's pretty much everything that I've got for this evening. This is sort of a last call. If you've got any last minute questions or comments, feel free to ask those and I'll try and answer them. But in general, key takeaways. Saturday, we're dry, we're sunny, and we're pretty warm. Temperatures 5 to 15 degrees above average. 70s and 80s are going to be common. That cold front moves through into Sunday morning time frame is what's projected right now. It might be a little bit slower into maybe early afternoon. But once that cold front passes through, that's really going to put a cap on the temperatures. So northwest, west central Montana, probably looking at lower to mid 70s. Southwest Montana, mid to upper 70s, maybe even a few low 80s. So it just takes a little bit longer for that front to get through. But with that front, strong winds, I think maybe the big story for the day. 30 to 40 mile per hour gusts will be possible. Area lakes pretty choppy on those conditions, and even some north-south highways could be treacherous for high-profile vehicles. So something we'll keep, something to just kind of keep in mind, especially if you're doing any traveling. And then we'll have that chance for showers and thunderstorms. I think we're going to be looking at scattered to potentially widespread showers and storms, especially Interstate 90 and south. And then southwest Montana, that'll be a lot of that's going to be late afternoon, overnight, and into Monday morning, while as compared to areas west of the divide, that may be more isolated to scattered in nature, with those showers and storms for the morning and afternoon hours and starting to clear out as we get into the overnight period. So I think with that, I will start to wrap it up. One little plug, if you happened to miss today's new 3D weather that I produced, feel free to check that out on our homepage, nbcmontana.com. It was all about noctilucent clouds, a rare type of cloud that you really just don't see very often. And honestly, for me, I've only seen it 3 times in my life. One of them was from a rocket launch, and I talk about that in the package, from a SpaceX rocket launch that I saw traveling through New Mexico's desert earlier this year. Then the second and third times were both during a morning show, and we saw them on our weather cameras from Flathead Lake, TV Mountain, and Polson from Kalispell too. So some pretty cool stuff there. But yeah, feel free to check that 3D weather out on nbcmontana.com or on YouTube. That's up on YouTube now as well. And then if you have any photos or videos of your game day excitement, some football stuff, any of the events going on across the region, or even just some unique weather or unique wildlife, feel free to share those with us at nbcmontana.com/chime in. So again, thank you so much for watching. Tune into our broadcasts this weekend. And of course, tonight at 10, coming up here in just about half an hour, we'll have the latest news and weather updates. And then it is the best highlight show in Western Montana. Our sports team will be hosting Big Sky Friday nights for week number 4. So tune into that, and I will see you all on the next one sometime next week. Have a great rest of the evening, a safe weekend. Until next time, with NBC Montana, I'm meteorologist Mitchell Combs.